Alright guys, here I am with the best phone camera in the world, the Samsung S23 Ultra. Yeah, it's the best. We already know that, don't we? And you can read the tests and, you know, everyone is agree with it. It's the best camera in the world that comes with a phone. So it's a camera that comes with a phone, really, but well, it gets connected with the phone and the camera, so it's a smartphone. Why do you call them smart? We don't call humans smart anymore. Maybe it's because of this best camera. But before we do that, I just like to say I'm not paid to rave and I'm speaking freely. I'm not scripted either. And you know, English is not my native language. So sometimes I miss some words, some bad words pops up now and then, and I'm unfiltered and all that jazz. I hope you can stand that, but let's jump into the video where I'm gonna show you my hands, my talking hands. They're gonna be all over the place, touching the screen, like, yeah. Anyways, let's jump into it. Alright guys, so here we are inside the Samsung S23 Ultra. The first thing you need to do is download the app called Good Lock. Good Lock, and you find it in the Samsung App Store and it's for free. In here you just open it up and you can choose other softwares here as well, which are great ones, but the one you would need to aim for is the one called Camera Assistant. Install that and you're good to go further. And here we are inside the camera app. So the first thing you need to do is hit the cogwheel up in the left corner. Here you get several settings that you can use, and also you will find that camera assistant down here that you just installed, but we get back to that later. First we do the first thing first, and we start with the scene optimizer. I don't know what it does, but it actually makes the picture pops. What's happening in the background, I don't know. I think it's AI or something. Some people claim it looks unnatural. Well, I don't know if it is unnatural really. I haven't had any issues so far, and I think it looks great actually. Shot suggestions. It gives you suggestions where to shoot. So for this example here, for example, you get the best shot. I should aim for that dot there and it gets yellow. It also guides you to hold your cameras straight. So you see here it's a meter that tells you that you are a little bit out of straightness. So back again to the settings. I have that on because I think it's pretty cool to have. Scan QR codes. Has nothing to do with the quality of your photos. Swipe shutter button to take burst shot. Yes, that's what I do. You can choose other things here, like make a GIF instead, but I don't use GIF so much. I think it's better to have like a burst shot. And burst shot means that you take several pictures just holding down the button and swiping down. Watermark is the place for you. I like to watermark your pictures. You can customize that with your own name there, like photo though, for example, and you can take away that Galaxy S23 Ultra mark there and add your own customized mark. Advanced picture options, it's here where you set if you like to shoot in RAW, JPEG or high FSC pictures. I always shoot in RAW and JPEG, so I have it on RAW and JPEGs. If you have lack of space, keep it on JPEG. If you want to edit your photos afterward, use RAW format. I use both. Save selfies as previewed means that if you have that on, you will have all the text or logotypes backwards. You don't want that. So have that off so it looks natural. Auto FPS means that the camera actually set the shutter speed auto, so you can't affect it. Have that off, because if you're walking from a bright room into a dark room, it will set the shutter speed after that. It means it can go from 60 FPS down to 16 FPS and you don't want that. The stutter effect will be real, believe me, it looks terrible. Video stabilization on, advanced video options. Here you can set the quality that you'd like to use. I use HDR10+ because I have all the bells and whistles in there. The other ones is more lighter versions of this one, so I like to have it mint. So I have it at HDR10+ videos always. Zoom in mic, I keep that off because I think the sound becomes a little bit more muffled when you zoom in. But if you prefer that, you can use that too. But usually I don't need to. The regular mic setting in this phone is awesome. The zoom in mic makes it muffled, as I said, and I don't think it just sounds weird. Don't use it. Tracking autofocus is nice. So what you do is, it's nothing new. If you have an ADSLR camera, this is like legit, but on phones it's not. So you just get the square here. Now I set where it's gonna keep the focus, and now I can move the camera around like I want to. It's great if you're taking pictures of something that is moving, so use that one. It's also cool if you're gonna shoot this camera and you move around at different angles and keeping the same focus. So I use that one. It's a really great tool to have. Video stabilization is on. If you like the rules of third, you can have the grid lines on. I have them always on because it makes me line up my camera much easier. Location tags, I keep that off because I don't want to share all my location with the Android world. If you like to keep it on, it's much more easier to sort your pictures out, but I keep it off. Shooting methods, you can go in there. I have everything on here. Floating shutter button is a great tool to use. You can see it here. You can move it around wherever you like to, so it's much more easier to reach if you take a selfies or in a kind of awkward angles. You can use this one and place it wherever you like to. It's a great one to have. You can even place it up here if you like to, but I keep it there. Settings to keep is the settings that you last used when you're using the camera. I have everything on here besides the filters is off because I don't use filters so much. The rest is on. The most people only use the camera mode and the portrait zoom on, but I use everything on. Inside, the camera assistant is here where the fun starts. This is the app that you just downloaded. Go inside here and you have more options. Auto HDR that you found inside here is a great tool to use. It actually is accurate. I have no problems with it. I'm not a big fan of HDR, but when you need HDR, it's kind of good to have it. And the camera feels when it's time for it to do an HDR or not, so I have that on. Picture softening, I have that off because I like to add that myself, not the camera. Auto lens switching, I keep that on, so I always have the right lens when I'm taking photos. Quick tap and shadow makes you shot like it was an iPhone. On Samsung, it gets you shot when you lift your finger up from the shutter button. On the iPhone when you push it. So yeah, I have the quick tap shutter much more better. Capture speed, prioritize quality before prioritize speed. So the quality first, always first. Or if you're doing random shootings, you can do balance speed and quality, but never this one. Video recording in photo mode, yes, I have that on. And if you see something that you like to have on film, you can just hold the button and you start to record. Time multi-photo options, this one is great if you're taking selfies. You can take 5 pictures in one scene with 1.5 seconds between. So when you set a timer inside the camera app, this will be the settings that will be used. Camera times out after 5 minutes to save batteries. Dim screen while recording, I have that off because when I'm recording my videos, I don't want my screen to stop working. I like to see what I'm doing, so I have that off. Clean preview HDMI displays, nice to have on if you're going to connect your phone to a HDMI unit. Let's jump out from this app, camera settings, and go straight into the camera app. Alright, so here we are inside the camera app. The first thing you like to do is hit the magic wand up in the right corner. Turn off all the skin smoothing filters that you have there that affecting the front camera, not the rear camera. The rear camera is still on if you like to take a nice smooth photo of yourself. So I turn this one off and go back again. Selfie mode, you just swipe up and there you have me. You hit the effect button up there and you go for color tone and you go for warm. It's much more nicer, right? Alright, so one thing they like to have turned on is this motion photo. That means that it actually takes some snapshots before you actually taking the shot. So if there's someone is falling, you like to have that shot when it's falling. You can always back up some frames and get that shot. You also have the format of your shootings, 50 megapixels or 200 megapixels depending on what you use. I don't use that at all besides when I'm using it for landscape photos because you need to hold your camera very steady because it takes several pictures of the object and well, it's kind of hard to keep it steady. It's really great, for example, landscape photos, but use a tripod if you like to have it super sharp. But it's a good thing to go, you need lots of light and you don't need to hold the camera so still, but it needs lots of light. So sunny bright day, you can use it without any problems, but if it's any shallow light, then you need to go for a tripod. Other than that, keep the flashlight off, always off. If you need to use it, keep it off. Everything looks horrible when using flashlights, so don't use it. Down here you get the gray buttons. If you hit the gray buttons, it becomes yellow, and that means everything stays in focus. And you don't like to have that because it's ugly, so you just keep it off, and then you have like a bouquet in the background. Down here you have the zoom, so you can do manually, or you can use the set zoom function that you have. You can go up to 100, but that's ridiculous. I don't ever use that. 30 you can do, but it's really hard to keep your camera still in 100. No way, you need to have a tripod for that one. But there's options there, that's the point of it. But if you want to go pro, you need to go pro. So inside the pro, you can do everything that you can do with a regular camera. So you can choose the shutter speed, you can also choose the ISO, and where to focus, and the white balance if you're going to be out or set, and you also have which lens you like to use for the purpose. Everything will be set customized here, so this is the best way to go. I always use this one because I have it in control just the way I like to have it. Much better to set the shutter speed myself than have the camera doing it, because I know where I like to have the light. So if you see right now, the lens looks perfect. Before it was too light up. So I can show you a trick that I'm doing to avoid the overexposure. I just hold and lock it. Then I take down the exposure. Just swipe it down. And there you go. It always overexposes if you're using the Samsung's own auto. You see here, now it's overexposure. So I can show you. This is the picture I took, and this is when I did the exposure myself. So it's much more better here. Alright, so now we are inside the Pro Video app. Oh, I started recording, that's not what we're gonna do. So inside this Pro Video app, you have several options. You have the upper menu here where you can choose the film format you want to use. I use 24 UHD for this purpose this day, or I will go for 8K 24. I never do 60. 30 is like the highest I go. 60 looks so unnatural, and I like to have this cinematic, so I go for 24. When I'm doing slow-mo, I go for FHD 120, which is a great format for that one. It's big enough for slow-mo. Other than that, it's not much I'm doing there. Then you have this little box here. It's a histogram where you can see where the light is and the light are and how it is exposed. So you can see if I put this against the light, you will see you have more peaks everywhere and it's better exposed. You can choose which lens you want to use. You just tap on it. I'll usually go for wide. And you also have down here exactly the same setup as you had on the photo section. But you can choose which ISO you want to use, the shutter speed, which is important to have 50 when you're doing 24, right? And where focus, or if you want to do the white balance in auto. When it comes to microphone, it's also the meter you're seeing here is for the microphone. I always use Omni. Omni is the best to use wherever you use. If you don't use an external microphone via USB, Omni is the best setting to use for this camera. You can boost up the input here, or take it down a little bit if it's too loud. So the microphone on this phone is super awesome actually. And never use Bluetooth mics because it's latency in the sound. Use USB if you can. Tap there to get out of the menu. Alright, let me show you another cool feature is that if you turn off this super steady shot and go into the gray dot here and turn it off, it's called auto framing, and you mark the object that you like to frame. In this case it's the G here. So no matter how you turn your camera, it will always have the right frame. So it will zoom in and zoom out depending on how far you are from the object, or if you move around it. It will always keep it in the right frame. That's a really awesome thing, and it's a good tool to use. But for right now, I'm going to turn it off and turn the super steady shot on instead. Now you wonder, how do I set up these fast menus down here? Well, it's quite easy. That's what I do. So you can see what I have here. You can actually just hit the plus button here, and you can drag the options you like to use. All of those I have down here was up here before, but I don't like to struggle with more menus. I just add it as a fast menu option, and I think that's the best way to work. So you don't need to go through all the menus to hit the one you want. You just go with it. Like now I want to do slow-mo, just hit slow-mo. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
And now you got the best settings that I'm using, the best settings for me, or it could also be the best settings for you. So I wish you all the best of luck with your pictures and all that, because this phone is amazing to take pictures with. It is, and it's so good. And the video, wow, I'm just saying, it's just wow. So yeah, good luck with your new settings, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you can subscribe and like my channel here somewhere, or jump into my Instagram, iamleonofficial, for more content, or DM me if you'd like to know anything more, or you can pop a comment down here. Well, lots of information. Let's just say peace, arrivederci, I'm out.